Hello, how's everybody doing? Well, now we're at the point. This is a video about taking down time and space. It's been a while. I kind of lagged on this one for a little while because it was really busy. Because what I do is during the week I have to practice and everything for the next video, for the next, times I do the videos. And it takes a lot of time. Like I said before, it takes a long time to do the videos. I mean, if you're really doing like videos that mean something to you, it takes a long time. I mean, a lot of people try and find a way to do less work for the videos. But to me, I think the best thing to do is put as much energy as possible in your videos. It's just very important. I mean, if you really want to, bring something to people that you care about. So that's why, I kind of lagged on this one because I had so much work for the times that I'm doing a video, which is today. I usually do a lot of videos for today because of my schedule. And this was time and space. And anyway, I'm glad I left it up because I used it in some of the videos that I had in my last. Excuse me, I'm sorry. In the videos that I have just done. So this one is time and space, and it was a lot of work. I mean, there was a lot of things. If you followed the last video that I had about doing this flash art, I think it's number 4. And we separated this flash art from the flash art is separate from the animar that I do, which is the guitar, the music with the flash art. And it was funny because I noticed when I separated them, and I'm going to continue to separate them, it was a little change, and a lot of people didn't realize the change, but they pretty much can figure it out by now. So that I do the art separate now. Before I would do the art and I would say this is for Animar such and such, but now I know that this is going to be flash art, just the flash art, and the flash art is going to be corresponding with the Animar. So it's kind of separate. I'm still seeing how much I separate them, but I'm glad that I did that. However, because I just separated the flash art, I think a lot of people, it didn't pick up as much, but I still think it's important to keep the flash art, this section, to itself because it's formed. And it's a good thing I like about it is that it's formed into flash art, which has its own category now as far as my station is concerned. And when I talk to you about putting this flash art up, we are continually developing. It's continually developing into something. And I remember I wanted to do a lot of things that I didn't do. Like I wanted to be a segment to show more of time and space, but I found out a lot of things when I was doing time and space. The number one thing I found out is what is time and space, and how how much they're separated. Where I thought that time and space separated in some aspect. When I was doing time and space, before I started, I really thought that it was easy to do the time related to the space, like I said. But I found out some things about time and space, and I'm going to tell you right now. It took a lot of time, okay? The reason why it took a lot of time, because like I said, I didn't know what I was working with. Now I know pretty much more about what I was working with. And I learned more about time, space, and I want to get into the rules and everything. But like I said, the rules that I make for the flash art, which you see as it's developing, it developed now into, I think around, when did it start? Oh, Law and Order kind of like changed or developed it faster, because instead of me making rules, I found that there's laws of nature, or whatever you want to call it, or physics, or flash art physics, that's what I want to call it. There's laws of flash art physics that actually take over to where I can't incorporate my rules yet. But the rules are still there, but only it's now I'm seeing that I have to learn more about the flash art physics. Like, for instance, I wanted to be in control and show art, and show the time and the space. I wanted to control. What I'm trying to say is, I wanted to display it more. What I mean by control, I mean I wanted to use this for time, I wanted to use this for space, but it didn't work that way, because I learned a lot about, again, I'm telling you, I learned a lot about time and space. Now, what I found, leading up to this big discovery, what I found was that space is already given. And I was telling you that in the beginning, I wanted to, how can I say, highlight a certain amount of space. And that's what I did when I got the figure, the frame of it, you know. I wanted to show that it's a segment of space, because space is all around us. And I said it was going to be, not a fear, it was a, how can I call it? It's in geometry. It's a, I cannot believe this. I can't believe that. Okay, what is it? A flat surface is a, not a, okay, anyway, I got to come up with that term because it's very important. A plane, okay. So I highlighted the plane, and I highlighted the plane, which is space, by the green. And you saw me do it if you looked at the last video. I was trying to highlight, and I did the whole highlighting in the video, which I think is very important. Before, I would cut off a lot of things and not put it in, but I noticed that it has a lot to do with, American physics, and I say my, not because I'm just want to tell you my, because I want to let you know that it's in my channel, okay? So whenever I say my or our, I'm pretty much saying that it's in the channel, okay? The only thing about my channel is that you're given a lot of information it's perfect. I mean, I can't help it, because I worked on so many things that didn't work, and I found the right things that work. So the only thing I'm trying to say is that it has to be found. I mean, what I mean by found is that it's easy if you just use a little brain work. Like I mentioned American yoga, okay? Well, if you're really, really interested, and it's a lot to give to you, you have to take the brain work, and it's a lot of brain work and energy, but I use this brain work and energy all the time. So that's the only thing you really have to do, say, oh, I wanted to find out about American yoga, which was also / dance about music. So you have to copy or search it or whatever in some kind of way. I know you know how to do it because I can do it. And then you find those segments and learn about how in the world I can say that this, what I'm doing with the art, has something to do with American yoga. So that's your responsibility. And you're giving that. You're giving something that's really very valuable. But like everything, if you're really interested in something, you have to put some kind of energy into it. which is very hard. And I mean, I try and give you things that are very easy and tangible for you to find and look for. But then as time goes on, the station's been up for like 5 years. And it's a lot of work. And like I said, pretty much the videos that I do, when I do my videos, each week it takes at least 70, I was saying 100 hours. Now I can compact it because a lot of work that I did, when you keep doing something, you obtain something to where you use less time, okay? So that's why I started putting the whole thing as far as me tearing something down, or the whole segment of this one when I exposed the plane. So the green exposes a plane, the frame of it, the inside space, and I found that it's not empty space, which we talked about empty space a long time ago in some of the other, you have to search that. But I'm saying this is space, like now it's space, okay? Like where we're living, I mean, this is space. Okay, so what did I find out about space? I found out that time is glue. I mean, I'm saying glued to space. But in order to have time, we need space. Okay, and that's what I learned from this one. And all of this is time. And before I was doing it, or while I was doing it, I was saying like, well, where's the time? Where's the space? Where's the time? Where's the space? And I kept trying to mold it into something that I wanted, which I couldn't because it was something I didn't realize. And now I realize the space is given. I highlight the space or expose the space that I want to use. And then I do things, or I take time to do things to show you more about what I did with the space. Like for instance here, okay, this is what I did with this space. All the greens is space. And I did something in this space. And all of this shows the separateness of each action. And then I stopped like right here. And then I did this with another time. I did this at another time. Then if I turn over here, I did like from here to there in another time. So all of those expose the time that I put into working on this project. So what did I find out? As I told you, I found out that space is already there. We expose the space, okay? What I found out is everything is exposing space. Even I showed this a long time ago on some of the things. It's exposing a certain amount of space, okay? It's exposing space. I mean, the space is already there. Okay, it's more like this, okay? Say if you have a plot of land, for those who can have a plot of land, and there's nothing there. Well, then you want to build a house, and you want to do this and you want to do that. Well, that's exposing space because the space is already there, okay? So what I did was, and what does it do? It takes time to expose space. This is something that actually just popped, a better definition of it I just got from, doing this on real time. And in the space, everything that's in here the space was exposed. We exposed the space, even this, okay? Even everything inside, the space is exposed. It's coming up with some other things, but I'm going to hold back on that. So then we have this, which is pretty much time. So this is time right here. Everything that has to do with time that was taken to expose this space. So that's what I did. All these things in here, it exposed a certain amount of time, in what I did. So if you keep looking at this, you can see what I did. You can kind of figure it out. That's why when I do the showing on it, I don't say anything. I bring it in close usually. I don't want to sometimes because it's so beautiful at a certain distance. But I go in and I let you expose what time it took. Well, when you expose what time it took, you're figuring out, like, how did I do this? 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 You can see how what time I spent using the tape. All of those things are what I utilize, how I utilize my time, which is the truth. I mean, that's another thing that I talked about a long time ago. So if you want to find truth, then you have to look at this and figure out, like, what did he do? So in figuring out what somebody did, that's called truth. You don't really notice truth until something bad. Like, for instance, if this was it was so bad that I couldn't even expose it, which is very seldom. Usually, because I work really hard on it and I have the experience. But if nothing ever worked, then it would expose, just like this now exposes truth. And I used an example a while in one of these YouTubes. When I first started doing art, I was doing oil paintings in New York. But there was one thing that my employer, because I worked at the bottom of an Irish pub, and I was trying to do this sculpture or something, but I didn't use any kind of physics whatsoever. I just thought it would just come together in my mind, and whatever I put down, it would be perfect. But it exposed to me the truth. That's what I was saying. The only time you really worry about truth is when something goes bad, which is sad. That's what when I saw all this that I did and it wasn't working at all, then it exposed the truth. What did I do? What did I didn't do? What didn't I do? What I didn't know? What I didn't learn? What I didn't do in, there's a term that we use in American yoga, and between time. I didn't have any between time. And between time is, and I use it a lot in American yoga, is something that you do. It's like, before I do my videos, I do a lot of between time. That's like figuring things out, practicing, putting things in order. That's what you call between time. So, on that thing that I did in this project, it exposed the truth. And the truth was that I didn't have any in-between time, any studying, any knowledge of any kind of physics that was going on. And when I say physics, now I want to use it in a light as not all physics in all the whole world. I want to break it down in segments. Like, flash art now has a truth to it, okay? And that truth is all the things that you learn about it, which is a between time. Now we're going in circles, like you say. So I was talking about truth, and this is, if you look very clearly and you look at it close, you can see the truth, meaning what I did to obtain the time here. And like I said, if it looked horrible, okay, you could see the truth a little bit better, because we take for granted things that work, okay? Things that are going so fine and dandy, we don't take the chance and say, why is this working so well? But this channel that I have usually asks that question about, why is this way? Why is this way? Why is this way? even in one of my in a lot of segments in Dance Without Music, American Yoga, I question like why am I walking? Or like I was saying, when I was very young, and I remember exactly where it was, and I was walking, and I said, I don't feel myself walking. I mean, I'm walking, but it was like taken for granted, and it was like, what am I doing? And I would like walk, and I was saying, but what am I doing? I mean, like, how is it that I can walk? And even when okay, even in my when I go to sleep, usually I think it's from when I was a kid or whatever. But sometimes I like to rock myself to sleep. I think it's because my mother always rocked us to sleep. And when I would rock, when I was younger, I was saying like, how can I do this? I mean, I just tell myself to do it, and I do it. But the truth, I studied the truth about it, and I found out how is it I can rock? Now I find out how is it that I can walk, okay? So that's what I'm trying to say about this time. Now we have the time. If you want to go into time, you have to find the truth in the thing. Like I found the truth when I was doing this project as far as what is time and what is space. So now we're going to take it down. And I hope it enlightened you about time and space. And the next one's going to be, which I said in the last video about flash art, is that the next one is going to be puzzle. And I brought some because I was talking about the puzzle, and I said when I was taking down, which one was this? Time and space? No, this one is over and over. And it's funny because I know it's solidifying this flash art, because now before flash art was kind of concrete, you know, this segment of flash art, I couldn't, you know, like when you're thinking, I had to stay focused on this flash art. Now it's a subject in my mind, so I can pretty much like remember and use terms more, and I expressed that, and you understand from the last video that I did. So this one, these are the things I captured, all right, that I kept from over and over, okay? And I said, do I want to keep this? And I decided to keep it, and I said I'm going to keep it because I'm going to do one called puzzle. So after this one, time and space is going to be puzzle. So let's take down time and space, okay? And I found out some easy ways to take things down now, too. You just learn, you know, like things, to take things down. And this one will probably be easy. And I did this before because I learned some things. And it's all hooked together. So this one's going to be... And for those of you who know about the physics of Dance Without Music or American Yoga, you can see that I'm using, whenever I do something, I'm actually using the information I got from American Yoga. And that's another different meaning, that's another different way that American yoga and the rest of the yogas differ, because in American yoga you use everything all the time. All the time. It's not a big deal, but it's just the things that are, it's just like you use mathematics all the time, if you don't realize it's like that. American yoga is used all the time, and you don't have to worry about it, because it's like mathematics or a language, talking, like we talk all the time. So anyway, how am I using it? If you take, or if you listen to, or learn, or whatever, the channels about American Yoga, Dance Without Music, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I'm taking this one down. It doesn't seem to be giving me any problems whatsoever. And that's why I'm keeping this section in, because every movement I make is important. You know what I mean? I'm just not doing things. I mean, like, for instance, I'm doing this, I can see as far as my as far as my experience with American yoga, that it's requiring actions, you know what I mean? And it's important, everything, you know? So anyway, this is going to be down pretty soon. Okay. And for you, it's good to see, because you get to see, when you take it down, everything that happens. And if you're familiar with everything that happens, you get knowledge for yourself that help you in things. Everything is interesting. You know what I mean? Everything is like interesting. And there we go. We're going to take this down. Much easier. And that's it. I don't think we're going to use this one for anything else. And when I take things down, it's got some things I have to fix this wall a little bit. I wanted to I might get someone to, because I use the wall a lot, to put a white gloss paint up here. So I might do that, but it's gonna cost a little bit. But I think it's gonna be good in the long run. So anyway, I'm just pretty much gonna ball this up. I'm not gonna use it with anything. I'm almost positive. Not like over and over. So now, what are we gonna do with the next one, which is gonna be called puzzle? Well, I think what I'm gonna do is try. This is the puzzle. I'm going to look at this as the puzzle, okay? This is the puzzle, like when you get a puzzle of all the pieces that are not together, this I'm going to term as the puzzle. And then I'm going to put this up in a nice form to where it looks very beautiful. And that's going to be pretty much the concept, like this, okay? Maybe I'll start it in the center. And you see how this is put up? Okay? Okay. I can even use this tape. I can use everything. And I can keep that like that. I'll use any kind of tape. Oh, this one is not used yet. Let me see if I can find a tape. Well, I got a tape. So the only thing I have to do is take this out. I wanted one that was already open, but this tape. So anyway, so here we go. So then I'm going to, so this is the first piece, okay? And it's nice because when we talked about, how can I say? When we talked about rules, okay? If you follow all of this, you see when I first came up with flashart, we talked about it has to have rules. But now, we know that there's rules, but then there's also physics in flashart. So now I have to figure out, like for instance, one of the rules in flashart is that you have to tape this, okay? You have to stick it on the wall some kind of way. So that, to me, is like a part of the physics of flashart. But then there's rules. And my rules now I can see is that what I wanted to use. I wanted to use the material from over and over. So that's one rule that I got. And I just told you another rule. Everything that I use for over and over that I put in this box is going to be used for the puzzle. So that shows you that the way in which I put it on the wall, I'm going to say as another rule, I can pretty much do anything I want just as long as every one of these pieces gets on the wall. Unlike the concept of a puzzle that you get, there's all different kinds of puzzles. Everybody should know that. Unlike the puzzles that you get in a box to where all the pieces are there and you have to connect them a certain way. Why? Because everybody wants to use, anybody can buy a box of puzzles. So they have to show you how, in this term of puzzles, by putting one specific piece to another specific piece, that's the way that puzzle works. Well, this puzzle is different because I just have to use everything in there and I have to put it on here. Okay? So if I take any kind of piece, it doesn't have to be in order. I can do anything because that's a rule that I made. It doesn't have to be put this way. It just has to be put on the way I want it to put on there. So that's a rule. Can I do like that? Yeah, I could do like that if I want to. Okay? Or do like this. Yes, I could do like this. So I decided to go like that. And that's it for that. Okay? I could have overlapped it, but I